Yo, welcome back to the channel, everyone. Hopefully you guys are having a great rest of your day, start to your day, whatever time it may be. And in this video, we are gonna be comparing my brand new 2024 Mustang GT to my 2016 Shelby GT350. I know some of you guys on the channel who own Shelby GT350s are considering picking up a 2024 Mustang GT as a daily driver or maybe another weekend toy. Or some of you guys are considering either picking up one of the two cars. Since I have both, I want to give a detailed kind of explanation on what you can expect getting into both vehicles, and if you have one or the other, the differences between them. So if you guys are interested in more content, feel free, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on those post notifications. Let's get a cold start because we have to fire up both of these and roll them out the garage. All right, so this is actually going to be the first official cold start in the 2024. Whew. All right, good old MT82 transmission, which I will have another video comparing this to the Tremec 3160 that's in the Shelby GT350, but so far so good. I have a modification coming that's going to be tightening this up a little bit, but let's get a cold start. 3, 2, 1. This car does have the active exhaust, and I did actually go ahead and have this thing on. Show you guys right now. It's on the regular exhaust mode right now, so I'm gonna show you guys the difference. Cold start. So if you live, in a neighborhood where people are tweaking about loud cars, you can quiet it up. I mean, there's like no noise at all when you do quiet it up. Let me cycle it up for you again. We'll skip sport and then track. So I guess since it's early in the morning, we'll turn it off just because just did a cold start, but that alone is nice to have, and why I am going to be saying this is a pretty damn good daily driver. Let me go ahead and pull this car out, and then we're gonna be firing up the Shelby GT350, which is gonna be massively different.
A few moments later.
All right, let's get a cold start on the Shelby GT350, which is going to be massive. A massive difference. Oof. If you don't have a big garage like myself, parking the cars, I'm gonna say this right now because I think this is actually very important, people don't talk about. Parking the cars actually is a little bit tricky because both of these cars, they're not necessarily big, but they aren't small either, because I used to have a 1999 Mustang GT, which was a lot easier to get in and out of the garage. Getting to, essentially an S550 and an S650 in the same garage can be a little bit difficult. Like I might have to put some like marker tape on the bottom of the on the floor so I can actually guide myself a little bit easier. So that's something you should keep in mind as well. I just wanted to point that out because that's something that people don't really think about when they buy another vehicle. It's usually like after you buy it's like, oh wait, can this even fit in my garage? So let's go ahead and get a cold start. Like I said, yo, this is gonna be crazy. Valves open. There's a quiet mode, but it ain't the quiet mode in the S650. So 3, 2, 1. Oh yeah, baby. Still got some remnants of the 2 valve in here I gotta clean up, but this car, I got caught in a rainstorm, but man, dude, it's crazy how different the sound is. But cannot lie, man, there's absolutely nobody who buys a Shelby GT350 that's worried about how loud the car is. If you are, well, probably should get the S650 to keep it a buck. All right, got both cars outside. Lighting's a lot better so you guys can see exactly what color the S650 is. This is not black, trust me, I thought this was black. It is a dark matter gray. Now it looks somewhat similar to the carbon fiber hood I have on the Shelby GT350. So if you're looking for like a darker but not black color, this is perfect. This is something that I honestly didn't even know existed until a couple of days ago, and I was like, okay, this is definitely the color for me, because I didn't really necessarily want a black car. It was something I would have taken, but if I can get close to it and it not be black, I'm gonna go with it. Now, as far as the general sizing of the 2 cars, they're pretty much the same size. You guys can see the Shelby GT350 S550 versus the S650 GT. For the most part, they are the same size. So if you have been driving an S550 and jump into an S650, you're gonna feel right at home as far as just depth perception and how big the car feels, or I should say, not really how big the car feels, how similar the car, I should say, feels in size. As far as height, I don't know, man. The GT350 is a little bit lower than the S650, but that's because it is more track oriented. You guys can see in the wheel wells in the back, that's obviously due to the tires as well, but you guys can see back here kind of the differences. I'm gonna jump into the interior of the S650 because this is where things are gonna get really different. Now I have the 301A package, so I kind of have these vinyl as well as cloth seats, which I personally really like. The premium models are gonna have obviously the leather seats, heated and cooled. This actually does have like the climate seats as well with the 301A package. Pretty much is gonna have the same trim on the door. Now getting into the 301A package base model, I personally like the way the seats are positioned and how they sit in the S650. Now if you guys are in a premium car, you're gonna notice it immediately. I highly recommend jumping into a 300A, a 301A, and then jumping into a premium, even though you might be considering just a premium or a 300. Get into all 3 of them and lower the seat all the way down. You're gonna see in the premium seats that you are sitting a little bit higher. Like you're gonna be about this high up at the bottom setting. I like how it has the gear, the mile per hour, the tire PSI, which I personally didn't enjoy. I'm trying to angle the GoPro the best of my ability, because personally, if I'm buying a Mustang or any sports car for that matter, I want to feel like I'm inside of the car, not on top of the car. Like I don't want my belly button kind of lined up with the bottom of the seat, kind of looking down on the infotainment system. I don't like that, and especially because this is going to have the dual screens, that could get very annoying and it can become eye straining, kind of looking down and up at the same time. That's why I did not go for the premium trim, because I did like the way these seats sat in the car, and I'm telling you guys this right now, these are very comfortable, and I kind of have them in like a fixed back position. Not really, but I don't have them as lean back as I normally would. I'm used to, you know, driving cars that have either Recaros or some type of fixed back bucket seat. So this is literally perfect for me, and that's saying a lot, because typically with the fixed back bucket seats, you know, you're upright, and this is a lot more comfortable. So I think you guys will enjoy the 300A. as well as the 301A and the S650. Now, I am going to go ahead and talk about the clutch right now compared to the Shelby GT350's clutch. The clutch in the S650 Mustang GT is going to be, believe it or not, a little bit heavier. Yes, you heard that correctly, heavier than the clutch in the Shelby GT350. Now, this has a stock, hopefully you guys can see down here, this has a stock single disc clutch, and it's gonna have some force to it, but it does feel very, very nice due to the fact that this car does have a lot of assist in it. Has clutch assist, clutch protection, and this is going to have automatic rev match. Now, when I do go ahead and drive this car, I'm gonna showcase auto rev match on and off, and you're gonna see, shockingly, the car, for some reason, I feel like it's louder with auto rev match on. Now, this car does not come equipped with the same transmission that the Shelby GT350 does have. This has an MT82 D4, when the Shelby GT350 has the Tremec 3160, which is a superior transmission as far as feels going. Now, rolling through the gears with the MT82 D4 and the S650, it is very, very, very nice. There is no restriction that I have noticed. Again, the car is stock, so once I do go ahead and modify that, I will report back. I'm going to be replacing this shift knob with a weighted shift knob, so the throws are going to be a little bit more clean. But, you know, there's some play in here. It's not going to be as tight and precise as the 3160, but for the most part, if you are looking to pick up one of these cars as like a daily driver, a cruiser, something you're going to modify as time goes on, exactly why I bought it, the MT82 D4 is going to be a pretty good option, I'm not going to lie. But if you already have a Shelby GT350, or if you're planning on going ahead and test driving both, I actually recommend test driving the 2024 first with the MT82 D4, and then going into the Shelby GT350, so you can see 110% what I'm talking about, the difference in how the clutch engagement is and how the transmission is going to feel in the car, because it is wildly different. But I'm not just saying this because I just bought the car. I took a long time, you know, deciding what car I wanted to buy. I test drove a C7 Stingray as well, and I test drove like 3 different S650s. The MT84 or MT82 D4 so far, I'm actually enjoying it a lot more than I thought I did, because I never owned an S550 except the GT350. The reason being is I didn't want to even mess with the MT82. I wanted to jump right to the Tremec. Now that I have an MT82 car, this actually isn't as bad as I thought. Now let's go ahead and jump into the Shelby GT350 so I can kind of go ahead and explain what I'm talking about as far as the overall feel. Now, once you're in the Shelby GT350, you're going to see that this car is a lot more track oriented. You're going to be hugging the seat a lot more. Everything, in my personal opinion, everything is kind of closer to you in this car as opposed to the S650. Well, that's because this is going to be a more track-oriented vehicle. The clutch is going to be a lot lighter. This is a stock clutch in here. These clutches are a stock twin disc. They are a lot lighter. They are going to be very, very easy to operate. And as far as the MT82 D4 versus the Tremec 3160, I mean, you can literally see the difference between the two here. I mean, without even driving the car and, you know, just operating it, I mean, there is a massive, massive difference. And I would be lying if I told you that this did not feel superior, because it is superior because of, you know, what this car is meant to do. Now, that does not take away from the S650 with the MT84 or MT80. I keep saying MT84. MT82 D4 is still a nice ride, but that's why I'm telling you guys, you need to test drive both vehicles to make sure that, you know, one or the other is best for you. If you want a tighter more refined transmission feel, and you are going to be tracking your car or just overall just spirited driving, enjoying it, obviously no brainer. The Shelby GT350 is going to be the right car for you. But if you want something that's going to be very smooth, you know, very easy access, the 2024 is going to be the right decision. Or even the Shelby GT350. I mean, literally, I've daily driven this car, you know, for the past like month, or actually, to be honest with you, you know, I drive it a lot more now than I used to, and it never got to the point where I was like, oh, this is annoying to drive. It never got like that. So if you're wondering if the Tremec with the stock twin disc would ever get annoying, absolutely not. It's very easy to use. This car does have the spring assist in it, which makes it even easier to use. This car does not come with automatic rev match or anything like that, so you're gonna have to be able to rev match it yourself. But again, these S550s are easy to drive. The S650s are even easier to drive. But as far as just the positioning and everything, very easy bolt action. This car does have a Ford Performance short throw shifter, but it's not going to be that much different from stock. This is going to feel fantastic. You can see like how much different this is compared to the MT82. It's pretty alarming. But again, like I said, the MT82 D4 is not a bad transmission for the S650. I'm not gonna lie. Now, before I jump out the Shelby GT350, I do want to mention this car obviously has the Recaro seats. That's the only way to do it, in my personal opinion, for a Shelby GT350. I enjoy them. I don't find them uncomfortable. I've never felt these seats uncomfortable. So if you are wondering, you know, could I get into a car with the Recaros? Absolutely. The only thing I will say is I've heard that the leather Recaros, not the cloth, because these are the cloth Recaros, the leather Recaros are a little bit more uncomfortable. I can't back that up. For those of you who have sat in both the leather and the cloth Recaros, let me know down in the comment section, as well as everybody else, what's more comfortable, because you can actually option the leather Recaros in the S650, but you couldn't do that with the Shelby GT350. At least I don't think you could. Maybe there's some guys who have them or they swap them out. But for me personally, I love the cloth Recaros. Very comfortable. They hug you. That's what's supposed to be done with this car, because it is track oriented and performance oriented. So that's why I made sure when I was looking for a Shelby GT350, it had the Recaros, or I was definitely not buying it. So before I go ahead and jump into the POV drive, wanted to get another look at these two cars, man. Looks are gonna be subjective, obviously. I mean, come on now. This is the Shelby GT350 is just, it's way more aggressive. I'd be frauding if I said it was more aggressive than this, but I am starting to really like the front end of this car. I think with the Dark Horse front lip, because I think the lip is really what's going to go ahead and set this off, as well as some wider, you know, tires, different wheels, lower it down ever so slightly so it is about the same height of the Shelby GT350. I've already seen it done, so I already know it's gonna look way more aggressive with that done. Literally just new wheels, tires, and the Dark Horse front lip with it lowered down, like honestly not even an inch. I could just go with like the BMR drag suspension just to go ahead and kind of set myself up for, you know, what's going to be going on with this car in the future. It's gonna look fantastic, man. It's gonna look fantastic. Imagine like not really a carbon fiber hood on this car, because we already got the dark matter gray, but imagine if I did like carbon fiber doors. Ooh, that might look tough. I ain't gonna lie, that might look tough. But yeah, let's go ahead and get a POV drive of the S650 and, you know, enjoy the tech that this car does have. All right, so we're in the car. gonna be cruising it. I still have to go ahead and finish the break-in miles because it is a brand new car and there is 1,000-mile break-in that you have to complete, where you really can't be going too crazy in the car. And after that 1,000-mile break-in, change the oil, then you can start opening it up a lot more. But you guys can see and hear that I do have the active rev match enabled, because I personally feel like the car is a lot louder with the active rev match enabled versus it turned off. As far as like how easy the car is to drive, you can literally just accelerate, or I should say the car will do it for you. It will take off in first gear. If you put it in first gear and release your foot from the clutch pedal, it will automatically give the car gas. Oh, this guy is coming up hot. It will automatically give the car gas. So it's almost hard to stall this car out. When I first jumped into it, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not used to this, because it doesn't even do that on the SHELBY GT350. But for this car, it's really, really nice to have that, especially, you know, if you are in stop and go traffic, which I am gonna say is gonna be a lifesaver when I do take this car downtown for like cars and coffee, or just to go cruise. Now with the windows up, it's not bad whatsoever. There is road noise, but that's gonna be due to the fact that this car does have some pretty crappy tires on it. Personally, there's more road noise in this car versus the SHELBY GT350, which is weird, but I think that has to do with the tires. So, you know, changing out the tires to something like some Michelins instead of the Continentals I believe on here right now, you know, it's going to be a much better decision if you care about the road noise. I mean, it's not bad, but oh, here's a brake check. Now, something else that you guys are going to be noticing as well, that guy just blew it. The brakes on this car, obviously, if you have a SHELBY GT350 and you are jumping into this vehicle to quote-unquote daily drive, you're gonna notice immediately that the brakes are not on the same caliber. Obviously, I've made stops like this in the SHELBY GT350, and you kind of have to be, you know, conscientious that you are gonna have to start to slow down a lot quicker. I still have to think about that as well in this car versus the GT350, because obviously the brakes, you know, aren't the best. But again, this is not necessarily a track-oriented car. It is a performance car, but I believe like the base GTs, non-track pack versions, you know, they're a mixture of, you know, something you can enjoy spiritly, but also, you know, daily drive and cruise. But it is nice, man. It really is nice. I just have my auxiliary gauges on here right now. If we go to literally the Apple CarPlay, which I actually went ahead and I actually had to turn off because I was adjusting my GoPro settings, but I believe it should just connect. Alright, hold on. We'll put it back to the gauges. Feature. Forgot I had to turn off my Apple CarPlay to adjust my GoPro settings, because you can't do both at the same time, because obviously the GoPro is Bluetooth with the car as well. But very easy. You got the blind spot assist as well, which is really nice, even though, you know, you should be doing that yourself. You got it on this side as well. You can kind of see it light up when there's a car next to you. You can hear the active rev match kind of kicking in, which is super, super nice. I really like that. But I'm actually gonna go ahead and turn it off to kind of show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. I feel like it's louder with it on. So you guys can see, if you go to your track apps, there's some settings you can adjust. We're gonna turn off rev match. So now rev match is off. Let these guys go, and you're gonna be able to see. But overall, just everything just inside the car is really, really nice. Everything's responsive. Just if you are using another Bluetooth device, you're gonna have to disable Apple CarPlay, but you know, it's not really that big of a deal. 9 times out of 10, you know, you're not gonna be using another Bluetooth device. turn braking, I usually take it up to like 5K, but we'll do some downshifts right now. Downshift it to third, second, we'll go back up to third, fourth. This is with auto rev match actually turned off. You guys can hear. I feel like it's a lot quieter with it turned off, and that was a good rev match. Do it again. So now we're in 6th gear. Let's go ahead and downshift. 5th, 4th, 3rd, and I know how to rev match, but if we go to rev match and turn it on, you go ahead and accelerate to about like 70 miles an hour. 6th gear. Automatic. I feel like it's louder, even though I'm giving it the same amount of gas the computer does. Let me know what y'all think, man. That's something you're gonna notice in an S650, especially if you have a GT350 as well, because we don't have automatic rev match, but these cars do. You're gonna notice. That it is going to be a little bit louder with it enabled, which I mean is cool. We'll see how this actually handles with modifications done to the car with the tune, if it's going to be as smooth, or we have to go back and manually do it, which honestly I think it shouldn't be bad. It still pops and bangs even with the stock exhaust. With an off-road H-pipe, we'll see if that changes. But really enjoyable. Roll the windows up again. You guys can kind of get an in-cabin feel. It's really, really nice, man. Really, really, really nice. Oop. Didn't need to do that. Nice, man. The little minor acceleration, not like I said, not gonna go crazy because we're still in the break-in period, but handling's not bad. I mean, for these tires that are on the car right now, I mean, you can get in and out of traffic pretty easily. I also have the Apple CarPlay back enabled because I don't need the GoPro preview anymore, but for the most part this is not bad whatsoever. Not bad whatsoever. Third gear in this transmission is long as hell. I will say that. I think this third gear could probably go to like 120 something miles an hour if I was to ring it out. We'll find out soon enough when I do drag in this car. Obviously after braking. I'm curious what it will run. If it runs like, I think it's gonna run like a mid 11, 60 to 130. 3rd to 4th gear. If it runs that, I'd be pretty impressed, because these aren't the lightest Mustang. I mean, I think these are like 3,800 pounds or something like that. And I know the factory tune is very, very restrictive. all nice. You can kind of still smell the newness of the engine too. Wait to go ahead and get this car on some better tires, some lighter wheels, lower it. It's gonna feel completely different. It actually feels pretty good. Like, I'm actually surprised, because usually Mustangs, like the specifically like track or performance oriented ones, they don't really handle that well, especially like on like the really cheap tires they put on these from factory, because they anticipate people to modify them themselves, so they don't even really spend money on it. But this feels a lot better than I thought it was going to feel. Traffic here. I mean, that auto rev match and just like the lane assist and all that, it really does come in handy. I ain't gonna lie. Not bad at all, man. Not bad at all. I'm gonna show you guys like what I mean about it just taking off. I mean, I didn't even put my foot on the gas. It just took off. Like I literally didn't even put my foot on the gas. Super nice, man. Woo! Drives great. This MT82, super impressed with it, man. All right, back at the casa. As you guys can see, it's kind of a tight fit in here, I'm not gonna lie. My garage isn't too big, but what I also want to show you guys is kind of the ambient lighting this car does have. If you guys can see down there, and like the door handle, a little bit ambient lighting. You can change that to whatever you want, but I like the blue. But for the most part, really enjoying the S650. It is a nice ride, and I feel like for those of you who maybe didn't like them at first, give them a test drive, and I think you'll definitely start to like it. And we'll see what this car does once we have some modifications under our belt. So if you guys enjoy, feel free, drop a like on the vid, subscribe to the channel, turn on those post notifications. Let me know what gen you prefer, S650 or S550.